Hey, it's Andy here. I'm delighted to be delivering this session on how you can unlock speed and scale with your content creation efforts. Today, we're going to be taking content from Illustrator and Photoshop, content ultimately created by a designer, and showing you how you can streamline your workflow in terms of how you can produce that into marketing content and distribute that across multi-channels. Today, I'll be playing the role as the marketer. My name's Andy. I'm a senior manager of product at Adobe, working on Adobe Express, and my background predominantly has been in marketing and social media. Co-founded a social media tech business and wrote a book which became a bestseller called Social 3.0. So, however, before we get into it today, let's hand you over to the real star of the show today, Liz.
Hi, my name is Liz Mosley, and I am a branding designer based in Cardiff in the UK. I'm also the host of a podcast called Building Your Brand, and I release weekly episodes. And we are actually going to be using this podcast as the demo for our session today. Now, I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but I am very guilty of releasing a podcast episode, creating one social media post to promote it, and then that's it, not sharing about it ever again. And so people are missing out on all this incredible podcast content that I have been making. So today in our session, Andy is going to help me scale how much content I can create to promote the podcast. But to start with, I'm going to get all of the design assets ready so that I can share them with him and he can use those too. So I start off in Adobe Illustrator because this is where I created the brand. And over on the right-hand side, you'll see that I've started to create a library. So I'm just going to add a few more bits to the library. So this colorway of the logo, for example, I'm just going to add it as a graphic, and then I'm just going to drag it up to the logo folder in the library. And then I'm going to add these headphones again as a graphic, and add those into the assets folder. So now our library is ready. And what I love about libraries is that I can then access those assets, those logos, those designs in all the other Adobe tools that I use, like Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, but also Adobe Express. So let's head over to Adobe Express. And what I'm going to do is head to Your Stuff. And if I go to Libraries, we will see that that library is here. Now, to make this as usable for Andy as possible, I want to turn this into a brand kit. So I'm going to click on these three dots and select Use as Brand. And you'll see it's just disappeared. But if we head over to the Brands tab, now we can see it here. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I want to share multiple things with Andy. So designs, brand kits, libraries, and I don't want to have to share them all with him individually. So I'm going to head back to Your Stuff and go to Projects, and I'm going to create a project where I can organize all of the files to then share with Andy. So I'm going to select New Project, type in Building Your Brand, and I'll make that green, and I'm going to click create. Now I could add Andy to the project at this point, but I'm going to fill it up first and then invite him to join it later on. So I'll click on skip, and now I'm going to go create, add to project, and I'm going to go to the brands tab and find that brand that I just created. So we'll add that, and then there are a few other bits that I want to add as well. So if we head to Your Stuff, and we go to libraries, I've got a library of photos of previous guests on the podcast that I want to use. So I'm just going to copy that over to the project as well. So we'll add that in there, save copy. So now we've got a brand kit and a library in our project. Now there's a few other things that I want to add. First up, I'm going to add a scheduler because I want Andy to be able to schedule to the podcast. So I'm going to click create calendar. And that's going to add a scheduler that we can both use then to that project. And then finally, I'm going to create a template of a post. Now, what's really great is that you can actually start from designs that you created in other programs. So if I head back to the home page, I'm going to start from my content, and I'm going to select this quote here, this template that I've made of quotes for the guests, and select open. And Adobe Express is going to convert this into an Adobe Express file. I could have it as a linked image, but in this instance, I want it to be an Adobe Express file. So I'll just click convert, and it will upload it, and it will all be fully editable for me to use. So here we have the design in Adobe Express. Now I'm just going to make a couple of tweaks because it's brought in these elements separately, and actually I want it to be possible for the guest name, for the shape behind the guest name to expand, because in a minute we're going to use a really amazing tool called bulk create. Now if I just delete this shape and select the text, I can go to effects, shape, and it's just added it back in for me. Then the next thing that I want to do is just replace this image so that it's in a circle. So I'm just going to delete that, and I'm going to head to media and photos, and I'll just search headshots, and we'll find the same picture here. And what I'm going to do is click on the crop button and just make that a circle and put it back into my design. And you can just adjust the image as you need to. So we'll bring that back down here. Now, one of the really cool ways that you can create a lot of content quickly is to use this feature called bulk create. So I've got my template, and if I click on bulk create, it's going to prompt me to upload a CSV file. So I've previously created a CSV file that has quotes from my guests and also their names. So what I need to do now is click next, and then I just need to connect the elements. So I've got my quote here. I'm going to connect the elements, and from the drop down, I can choose quote, which is the title I gave that column in the CSV. And then again, with this one, we're going to select it. I'm going to connect the element, and I'm going to choose name. And then the last thing that we need to connect is the images. So I'll select this image, click connect element, and then select next. Now you'll see it's made all of my posts for me really, really quickly, but what I need to do now is add the images. So if I click add multiple assets, you'll see here that it's given me the names and also the spot for the images. So what I'm going to do is click on the plus here, and I'm going to select libraries, and I'm going to find that guest headshot library that I saved to the project. And I'm just going to add all of these to the right people. So all you need to do is drag them over and they'll start to update. So let me just quickly add all of those. And you'll see that really quickly, I can have all of these social media posts ready to use. So there we have the last few. Okay, so now all of the images are in the right place. I'm going to select done, and all of them have updated here in the preview, and now I can create pages. And so now we have this project where we have all these different quotes that we can start to use. Now I want to hand this over to Andy so that he can take this project and what I've created already, and he can take it even further. So what I'm going to do is head back over to the project, the Building Your Brand project, and I'm going to add to project. And if I scroll down here, I can see the file that I created, and I can add that in so that Andy can use it. And then lastly, what I'm going to do is click share, and I'm going to invite Andy to this project just by typing in his email address. I want to make sure that he can edit it so that he can access everything he needs. And then I'll just click invite to project. And now he can work from this project space. You'll see his avatar appears up here. And so now I'm going to hand it over to Andy.
Okay then, so now Liz has created this bulk create project. We can now find this in your stuff. I'm going to go to projects and then find it in the Building Your Brand project. So here it is right here. Again, these projects are a brilliant way of sharing all of your files, your brands, and also importantly, something I'll just go back and show you very quickly, your shared calendars as well. Fantastic if you're working on content together that you're distributing across multi-channels, which we're going to do today. So we're going to be going into this calendar in a moment. But firstly, let's look at this bulk creation project. Let's click on the multi-page view. There's a couple of ways that we're going to start using this content, because what we want to do is really maximize the bang for our buck with this content. So firstly, I'm going to multi-select these pages. So I'm just going to shift and select these, and I'm going to turn these into a carousel. Carousels are performing very well on Instagram from an engagement rate perspective. So we press share, then we're going to share to social. And here, when we select channels, we'll be able to see, because Liz has shared this calendar in a project, I can see the Building Your Brand calendar. So I can see Liz's social channels here. This is so useful when you're working with different clients or colleagues, etc., and you're creating content together. So I'm going to select Instagram here. Now, I'm no copywriter, so I'm going to use the caption writer to give me a bit of a head start here. So I'm just going to put a little prompt, tips from the Building Your Brand podcast, and then press generate and generate a new caption. Right, that looks pretty good. So let's insert this and we can make a couple of tweaks to this. I'll remove some of the emojis here. I'll adjust the formatting slightly, but otherwise that's pretty good. If we wanted to make any tweaks, however, we could select a subject of text here. We can press generate and then we could rewrite, shorten or lengthen. A real nice way to use this as like an editing assistant. So again, that looks pretty good. I'm going to save this one as draft because I want Liz to look at it before it goes out, but I'm going to put it out on Monday. And typically Instagram works better in the mornings. It's where posts seem to get most engagement. So we're going to set it for the morning. And here we've just got a little preview function. So we can press preview so we can see exactly how that carousel looks. That looks pretty good to me. So we're just going to go ahead and add that to draft. Now, there's something else we can do with this as well. So let's start mixing it up. As we know, TikTok is performing incredibly well right now. But of course, this is a static project. So what we actually want to do is take one of these. So I think this is actually a really nice way of, a really nice post actually. I think this is going to work well on TikTok. So we're going to press resize and we're going to resize this. We'll choose social media, look at TikTok, resize it to a TikTok video, duplicate and resize. All right. That looks pretty good. There's a couple of things I'm just going to move around slightly. There you go. I'm just going to pop that down there. All right. Of course, now we formatted it to be the right size for TikTok. There's a couple of things we should do. We're going to animate it, and we're going to animate it with this bloom animation. That looks pretty good. So now we've turned a static project into something that's animated. Now, of course, sounds are really important for TikTok and a great way of us getting noticed. So we're going to go to add-ons in the bottom left. Add-ons are a wonderful way of you extending the utility of Adobe Express. Often, if you ever bump into anything that you say, oh, I wish Express could do this, go and check add-ons. It allows you to customize the Express experience so it's more unique for you. Now, I've clicked on the TikTok Symphony Assistant here, and this is like a TikTok strategist here waiting for you. So trending hashtags, trending sounds, which we're going to use today, and also like video scripts as well. So here we can ask it to say, find me some trending TikTok music. So it's going to find the top music here, and I'm going to go with this one actually. So I'm going to pop this one in. I'm going to fade it in and fade out because as we've clicked on this audio track, we've got fade in and fade out just to make it look a bit better, feel a bit better as well. Perfect. All right. That's really brought it to life. So now we've really started to repurpose this content. Again, we're going to hit share and we're going to share it directly to TikTok. So here we'll make sure that we're selecting Liz's TikTok channel here and the importance of SEO is what we're talking about here. Generate that new caption. So whilst that's busy uploading, we can carry on working on this caption. Quite like this one. Let's make a few tweaks. Rocket emoji, very popular with AI, so we're going to get rid of that. And there we go. We're looking good. Perfect. All right, I think the hashtags are okay. I'm going to get rid of a couple of them though, so get rid of those. And we're going to hit schedule. Again, TikTok's actually a little bit different, bucks a trend in the sense that posts perform better in the early evening, late afternoon. So we're going to go ahead. We could preview this again, see how it's going to look. Nice, that works for me. And then we are just going to set as draft and then add that one as draft. We are looking good. All right, final thing we're going to do. So we're going to now head on to the home screen of Adobe Express here. We're going to go to quick actions, plus menu, hit the quick actions. Then we're going to go into social media and then go on to Clip Maker. Clip Maker is amazing. It allows you to take any long form video like a podcast recording or a keynote address or a workshop and then create perfectly formatted social content from that. So really, really useful. So all you need to do is upload a video as we're doing here. Once you've uploaded a video, it will then convert it into 10 perfectly formatted social clips. So here's this one from Liz and Phil.
I care about tools, practical tools.
So we can apply our brand to this as we need to. So this is a great way of immediately starting to edit this clip to really make it feel authentically ours. And we're just going to go ahead and pop Liz's logo in here. We'll do that, make that a little bit smaller, pop it in the top left. And then all we're going to do is hit share. And the great thing about this short form, vertically orientated content is that it works so well across all social channels. So again, going to the shared calendar, we're going to go to all of Liz's channels and we're going to schedule across all of them. We're going to make this a reel. Reels are performing very well from a reach perspective, as is a video on LinkedIn too. So we're going to put it across all of them. I'm not going to do a caption because you've seen me do that enough already. And I'm just going to choose a date that's going to go out and we're going to add that as draft. And with that, we've now started to really extend the utility of our content, repurpose that bulk create post quote project, repurpose that across carousels for Instagram and also using trending sounds for TikTok. And then we've used the clip maker to repurpose Liz's podcast recordings into short form social first content. And now we can view the calendar, which we've shared together. When Liz is ready, she can uncheck anything as draft to make it publish and go live. But now we've really started to maximize the distribution of our content and unlock speed and scale of on-brand content. Thank you.